Okay, let's talk a little bit about the activities that are located inside of the Smokemont Campground or in the surrounding areas. Probably the most participated in activity here at the Great Smoky Mountains and certainly around Smokemont are the hiking trails. There are several trails that lead right here from the campground that are everywhere from easy to difficult hikes. And in the surrounding areas with a little bit of drive, you can find any hike you would like to do. You're actually fairly close to the Appalachian Trail that goes right up along the ridge of the mountains here between Cherokee, North Carolina, and Gatlinburg is where the Appalachian Trail leads. And you can actually go up there and hike a small section of it if you want to. Another popular activity in the area are the scenic drives. There are some gorgeous drives you can make. There's really beautiful areas where you can go off and see the natural beauty of the Great Smoky Mountains in their nearly pristine state. It's wonderful. The river itself provides quite a bit of recreation. Kids swim in it, they do some tubing in it, they can go on their floats and tube down a little bit. It's also a trout fly fishing river, and you'll constantly see people fly fishing pretty much year round. There are some wonderful American Indian cultural centers for the Cherokee Indian tribe and some of their museums. They provide a wonderfully positive experience with the Native American Indian cultures of this area. The Trail of Tears, of course, left from this area to Oklahoma. It's part of the history of our country. It's not a pretty part of our history, but it is something that happened, and we need to know and understand what happened and why it happened. Here at Cherokee, you get a view of it from the Indians' perspective, and that can be quite enlightening. There are also a lot of Appalachian culture sites here in this area. Two of them are very close to the campground itself. First is Visitor Center and the farm site that is right there at the Visitor Center. It is a big, lovely farm where they moved houses and the barns and such onto the site. It's neatly situated, and it's a great time to take your family and take a look at what it was like to live here in the Appalachian Mountains in the 1850s and on. We actually know people since we've moved here, have got to know them. Their grandparents lived in some of these cabins. Quite a sight to go in and see how they lived. Here is some video of the Appalachian Homestead, that's a demonstration farm that is at the Visitor Center just a couple miles from the Smokemont Campground. Won't go through all of the buildings or all the detail. I'll let you enjoy that when you get to see it. I give you just a sample through some of these videos of what is available to you. So sit back, look at the videos, and enjoy it. Another of the sites that is of interest that I think a must-see is the grist mill. There's a grist mill right outside of the campground here, and it is fully functional. To see the engineering that it took to build and make the grist mill work for the grinding of corn and wheat, which was central to every community. They had to have a way of converting their grains to a product that could be used in cooking, and the grist mills were key to that process. Here I've provided you with some video of the grist mill that we visited. You have an opportunity to spend as much time as you want walking through this area and examining the engineering and the craftsmanship and the skills of the people who built this and operated it. Again, I won't show you everything and discuss it. You can discover it yourself. Sit back and take a look at the videos and enjoy. One of my favorite places to go visit outside of the campground and outside of the park itself is the Foxfire Museum, located in Clayton, Georgia. It's about an hour drive outside of the park itself, going south. It makes for a great day trip. You might want to look up what Foxfire is about, how it came into existence before you get there. It may also be the impetus for you to take a visit down there. It is a cultural site that was dedicated to the preservation of the Appalachian culture. Well worth the visit. A little bit of money, but it's a small amount to go see it. Okay,
Hello.
What are we doing, Kathy?
We are visiting the Foxfire Museum in Clayton, Georgia. And I've known about the Foxfire books since the 1970s. Teachers started it in the late 1960s to get high school kids to write, and he sent them out into Appalachian, Georgia to interview family and friends on how they did simple things like get the hair off a hog, or
Butcher chickens,
or cut wood, or make furniture or baskets. And then they put all their news articles that the kids wrote into a series of books. I think there's 12 books.
Okay,
So I'm excited.
We're going to go see the museum. Turn around. Ooh.
Get that? It's historical. Okay, good. That'll work for us. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. You don't sell masks.
Well, we'll have a good workout for a couple old people.
Wilson family. It's named for Savannah Creek, north of Franklin, North Carolina. It is much larger than other homes from this time period. Richard Wilson and his family moved to the area in the early 1800s through several land grants from the government. They owned 4 slaves. The slave population was not as large as in coastal South.
They have it nicely furnished.
Yes, they do. Savannah House.
Got a room.
Originally located outside of Franklin.
Sometimes every 6 weeks we got scalding heads and boiling water with myself. What kind of things did you have? Were they teeth filled?
My favorite thing to do in this area is photography. In this area right near Smokemont, there is a large herd of elk that is regularly available for photography opportunities. There's also bear and turkey and some other wildlife that you can take some photographs of. I would caution you to make sure you understand what the rules are. Being around bears and elk, they are dangerous, and the rangers do enforce the rules. They're usually out there watching you to make sure that we humans don't do anything stupid. That's pretty much the primary activities in the area. Okay, so what did we really think of the Smokemont Campground for the week that we stayed here? Some of the obvious positives in my mind is the overall beauty of the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. It is very different than the other national parks or forests that we visited. It is just absolutely astounding how beautifully green these woods are, and it's an absolute joy to take a drive or a hike and go back in and take a look at this beautiful forest land that has been preserved for us. As far as negatives go, I can't really think of anything that stood out in my mind as a strong negative. The access to the park is really easy. It's easy to get here. Once you're here, the campground appears to be well laid out. Campsites are flat, easy to park. Don't see any real leveling issues. You always have to level a little bit, but I didn't see any campgrounds here that would be a problem getting yourself level. The campers were all courteous and friendly. The rangers were the same. They were courteous and friendly and helpful. Some of the amenities I find really nice. It is a place where I will come back up and do some fly fishing. I didn't do any this time. I didn't bring the equipment with me, but being I'm only an hour and a half or so from home, I certainly will come up here and do some fly fishing. We've done some of the short hikes up here, small hikes that people our age can do easily. Just relaxing and enjoying the park itself and the quiet in this beauty is enjoyable. Kathy pulls out her dulcimer and plays some music and practice, and that's always relaxing to hear her playing the dulcimer. So I don't know of a lot of negatives up here. The cultural sites that you get to see are fascinating to me. I love American history, so it really is interesting to get to go to the farm site over here at the Visitor Center and to see the grist mill. And we have been to other Appalachian cultural centers, and it is interesting to see how our great-grandparents lived up in these mountains, something quite different than we experience on a day-to-day basis. The cost is really quite reasonable. I think it was $25 a night, less the senior discount that we get. They have a lot of discounts, but I think that brought it down, I don't know, $15, $20 a night. Although you get no hookups, that maybe if there's a negative, that's it. Maybe that it doesn't have electrical power and water to the sites. If you're self-contained, which most of us are nowadays, that doesn't become a big issue. Had no problem getting enough solar to recharge, and of course they have very reasonable generator hours, so we really didn't have a problem staying here for a week, even with a modest battery bank. I guess my opinion overall that would I return to Smokemont? Yes, we're going to come back over to Smokemont. We'll stay here probably once a week, or stay here a week once a year, and we'll visit it once in a while. I'm sorry I didn't get to see the elk herd this time. That's why there's no photos, but the elk herd is rather neat to go see. As far as beauty of the park, I think it's one of the prettiest places I've seen. Quite different from, say, Yosemite or Yellowstone. A different type of beauty, different types of forests. In the west you have the big conifer forest and the giant granite cliffs, and of course the wonders of Yosemite and Yellowstone are pretty hard to compete with. But for sheer beauty of a forest, this park really ranks very, very high with us. So we hope that you come see us again on our channel. Subscribe to us if you have the inclination. We'll be doing more parks along the southern Appalachian region, and we hope to see you again. Until then, goodbye. Bye now.